What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia, your weekly look at what's going on in pop culture. I am Pat Sheehan, and Dave, I am exhausted today. So I had
It's a sign of the times.
Yeah. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. Harry Styles. We're going to talk about the new Thor trailer. And we're going to talk about some shows I saw this weekend, and as well as some new music that came out Friday. And apparently Sunday as well.
Yeah, why are you so tired?
So I went to 2 shows this past weekend, and I had 2 very different experiences, but they were 2 different nights. So Friday I went in and I saw Galantis at the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Mm-hmm.
They were terrible.
Terrible.
But Saturday I saw LCD Soundsystem at Brooklyn Steel, and they
Even
were
worse.
Fantastic.
Wow.
So I definitely will talk a little bit more about those, but why don't we shout out somebody very influential that died? I think me and you are both kind of novices when it comes to, or unfamiliar.
Before our time kind of thing.
But Don Rickles died at 90. I'm looking here. He was born on May 8th, which I didn't know he had the same birthday as me. But
damn.
R.I.P. I feel like everybody has that birthday, though. So I don't know.
Oh, man, my friend Kai has a birthday.
Yeah,
Ocho.
Everybody has that
and
birthday.
Steve.
Everybody. So, yeah, no, just
wow,
it's sad. It seems like a lot of current comedians are very influenced by him, which makes sense. Kimmel had a late night monologue or eulogy to him that got a lot of love. So I guess I would suggest going in and watching that if you are influenced at all by Don Rickles and want to remember him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Toy Story 4 because he's the voice of Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head.
And they haven't started work on that yet, so maybe they'll recycle previous voice work. We'll see. But
maybe Mr. Potato Head, this will be his last movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be sad.
Or they'll recast him. We'll see.
Yeah, same problem Star Wars has right now, but I guess that's what happens when you have older talent, you know. Carrie Fisher wasn't even that old, though.
60s, right?
She was 60, I think.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
just these things happen, so.
Rip.
Yeah, and I guess just to get these things out of the way, because we've touched on these in the past, Kendrick finally has a release date coming out this Friday. You know, he said you have until April 7th. But I guess
get your shit together.
I guess he didn't have his shit together quite in time.
We did mention last week that it was not a hard date. It was just the assumed date. And sure enough, nothing happened the 7th. And then we quickly found out, actually, on Friday that it's coming the following Friday, 14th. So
yeah, I think it actually dropped Thursday night.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, there's a pre-download or something like that. But
I'm actually really excited about that because it gives Joey Badass's record more time to shine, which is really great because when you have 2, lyrical conscious hip-hop albums, we're assuming that's what Kendrick's will be as well.
It's a lot to consume.
It's a lot to consume and discuss if they're right on top of each other.
Definitely. So I mean, and that'll be a nice thing for Easter weekend. The King rises again, I guess. Also, Better Call Saul coming back tonight as we record. So, Better Call Saul has had kind of a slow pace. I didn't finish season 2 yet. I'm working through it. It seems to be picking up a little bit. And this season is supposed to really hit the ground running. So
it's going to become Saul, actually.
Yeah, we will be touching on that as the episodes kind of warrant it. Yep. Also, Leftovers coming back this Sunday. So Peak TV ramping back up as we discussed on last week's pod, which you can find soundcloud.com/nostalgiapod. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us an iTunes rating and review.
Please.
We love you. So before I talk about the show I saw, I want to talk about two topics. One that we already touched on, so let's jump right into that. Harry Styles. Your favorite One Direction member. Right, I guess you seem to be more of a Zayn fan, right?
Yeah, I'll ride hard for Zayn. Not really, but I don't know. I kind of respected Zayn's Geel to go out on his own.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was the first one to go solo. Now they're all on hiatus right now. Liam and Lewis have kids, newborn kids, so we'll see how active their solo careers are right now. But Harry Styles go for it, as they say, with a piano ballad, some songwriting heavy. So
it's what Sign of the Times is the name of it.
That's the one.
Don't cry, Dave. It's the Sign of the Times. And what did you think about Harry Styles?
It's a
new single.
It's low key. It's puts you to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I just don't find it that lively. I'll give him credit for, being a songwriter, I guess, but
yeah, it was an okay song.
Doesn't mean I want to put it on.
I didn't think it was necessarily a great song. It wasn't an unlistenable song by any means.
He was getting a lot of love with all the think piece, machine.
Right.
I guess because of the idea of what his solo output could be, using this song as like a example or proof that there is something really good in his creative mind. I don't know.
Yeah, he seems to be.
I don't quite see that much, but I mean, I do like that it's more songwriting heavy. Where I'll root for Zayn, but Zayn is much more commercial, mainstream, traditional pop.
Right.
Going off his last album.
Yeah, Harry Styles seems to be taking a more artistic approach, and you mentioned before we started recording, you heard some comparisons to David Bowie, which the more I think about it, it's actually kind of an interesting one, because Bowie was also somebody who, like Harry Styles, had interest in film, really branched out into acting roles, which Styles will also be doing this year with Dunkirk.
Right.
This song wasn't the best, but I think it's definitely a different direction, and from anything they did in One Direction, they weren't. I think that they were just way more pop than this song was.
This is definitely a deeper song than anything he ever did in the band.
So it's something interesting, but I'm not really holding my breath about it. You know, if you want to hear my thoughts on that, you can go read my Twitter take, which I will not repeat.
Asking a real piece.
This is a family show.
If you're into 1D, look elsewhere.
Absolutely, but if you are into the Avengers, particularly Thor,
many people are.
What do you think about this new trailer that dropped, I think, last night?
I know, it was today. It
was today?
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok teaser trailer. First look. First video. We'd seen a few magazine shoot pictures. I like it. It looks fun. It looks lively. It doesn't look too serious, which when the first two Thors were at their worst, that was kind of the issue, is that they were just kind of...
lifeless.
Yeah, they were kind of just bogged down in like the Asgardian muck, if you will.
Well, Asgard is not going to be holding anyone down, because it looks like it's pretty much demolished.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett's like, it's my bitch now.
Kate Blanchett just tearing shit
unrecognizable, by the way.
I asked you, I was like, who was that?
Yeah, she plays Hela, the Asgardian goddess of...
Her name is Hela?
Yep, of something. She's a major Thor villain.
Hela, that's amazing.
Yeah. But I think what's so fun about it, obviously, is that Thor gets captured by the Grand Master, which is who Jeff Goldblum plays, and Tessa Thompson is like working for her.
Yeah,
working for him.
Tessa Thompson looks badass.
Yeah, I hope she gets enough scenes. She didn't have enough in Westworld.
No, she definitely didn't, but she's a very exciting actress.
Right. So he gets his hair cut off, which is
also notable.
Well, it's notable because Chris Hemsworth hated having to maintain that long hair. So they
think
totally just threw him a bone here.
Yeah,
I'm like, you've done good enough for us. We'll cut your hair off for the plot.
Yeah, this had a very like Guardians of the Galaxy vibe.
Well, I think that's really funny too, because the graphics package for like the title, Thor Ragnarok,
right.
That's in like the 80s font of Guardians. It's like the same people made it.
And I forget what the song was in the background of the trailer, but
it was a classic rock song. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm drawing a blank at the moment. What was that? It's a Led Zeppelin.
Black Dog?
No, it's come from the land of the ice and the... God, I'm blanking on it.
Whatever.
Like I said, we're both tired today, so give us a break on that. Right. Don't punish us.
Don't add us. But anyway, so Thor gets captured and he gets to fight Hulk. This is basically the culmination of the Planet Hulk storyline, which is very famous in the comics. They made an animated movie about it, and we knew that this was going to be like a buddy cop movie of sorts with Hulk and Thor,
right?
Which I think is really cool. We know Doctor Strange is going to come in and help in some capacity. Mm-hmm. Maybe he frees them. Who knows? Because there's those set photos of Thor in New York City, assumingly visiting Strange's office or whatever, the tower place he lives in.
Right.
But yeah, I'm just so excited to see like. This looks really fun, like, and that one liner he has about Hulk being a coworker and how he was just so elated.
We used to work together,
and everyone's like, "What the fuck are you talking
about?" Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the cast here and just going through. I know we talked about this when it came out, but I mean, Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, obviously, Mark Ruffalo, obviously, Kate Blanchett, we mentioned, Tessa Thompson, but Carl Urban, Idris Elba,
Carl Urban's bad guy,
Jamie Alexander, Anthony Hopkins, Benedict Cumberbatch,
They're all
Jeff
back.
Goldblum. Do you think that, forgive me if I'm wrong on this, doesn't the Emmys do an ensemble cast award, or is that just for TV?
I I don't even know if the Emmys do. Oh, no.
It's the Golden Globes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Golden Globes.
And other lesser award shows do. Cast awards.
I could see this winning something like that. This is a stacked.
Absolutely stacked.
Hey.
It's really impressive. And Jeff Goldblum, judging by the I don't do a good impression. The trailer, he doesn't have a lot of makeup on, so he's probably like, hey, like, nope, I'm not down with the prosthetics.
Right.
But I'll just come and just,
I'll
cook in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
Do what you want.
Give him the ball and clear out. Like, we were so excited for him to be the Grandmaster, and I think he's still going to kill it.
Yeah, I mean, they're really doing good with, I forget what those guys are called, but the Collector was Benicio del Toro in Guardians.
Right.
They're like the same group of like these really old guys that have control of the galaxy or whatever. So, yeah, faster than Jeff Goldblum, like, why the hell not? Like, you wouldn't have thought that he would ever do a genre film at this point.
No, absolutely not.
He's not really that active.
But it's probably...
Because he was just in Grand Budapest Hotel a few years ago.
Right.
A very artsy movie, because he's boys with Wes Anderson.
I feel like for him, it's like, if he gets the right character where he can be weird enough, he's just going to take it.
And like Anthony Hopkins, we know, he's been in Thor already. He's been in Westworld. Now he's in Transformers 5.
Well, he's just cashing checks right now. Like,
absolutely.
He's just like, give me all the big movies.
And maybe he was like, hey, Jeff, the checks are good. It's not that hard. Just hang out.
Seriously.
You don't have to get in shape. That's Chris Hemsworth's job.
Yeah, and Tom Hiddleston also looks pretty badass in this.
And, yeah, like...
I mean, he's always badass, but I kind of hate him as Loki. Like, not gonna lie.
I think he's a great villain.
He is, because he's kind of just annoying, but he, like, sticks around and very devious.
We know he's the best part of the Thor solo films.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great Avengers villain in general. And the big part of that is because he was, like, the only real moments of levity.
Right.
And now it seems the whole movie will have that tone, judging by the musical cue and the dialogue we've seen, and just have the fact that they're not just hanging out in Asgard.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they felt
very promising.
Yeah, I mean, just from the trailer, they felt like they had to go in a very opposite direction of where they have been going, and they literally are just blowing it up. So that's cool. Bring it in a different direction. Let Hiddleston and Chris Hemsworth cook a little bit and see what comes out.
And like, we're not gonna get like a solo Hulk film. It doesn't seem, and
that's okay.
The rights are actually kind of weird with that. Like, Universal still has like solo Hulk rights to a certain extent. They helped make the Incredible Hulk, which came out right after Iron Man did. So I think the waters are murky. So Marvel Studios just kind of like, well, we'll just have him hang out in Thor. As long as it's a team-up movie, we can do whatever we want with Hulk. And I don't know if he's good enough to really command and lead a film as much as we like Mark Ruffalo. I actually don't even know how much of Mark Ruffalo will even get in this. It depends what they do once they inevitably team up.
It's interesting. I feel the Hulk just seems to be the hardest one to execute as a solo film. I think it's just because of
it's all effects for starters,
right? And it's like also the bipolar nature of the character, but it's not like Jekyll and Hyde so much. It's just more like a very smart person than an animal, and it's hard to humanize somebody that just goes like full rampage.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Banner's so interesting when he's like just a normal dude, but then I don't know, it's tough to get to work out. I don't know if it translates well to film.
I don't know.
They'll try again eventually, but
definitely.
I think this is a nice, way to get him back in the fold, because remember, he wasn't in him and Thor were not in Civil War, so it's been a minute.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm really excited to see this movie though.
Comes out in November.
Marvel just stays winning.
Yeah. Like Guardians 2, Spider-Man, and Thor. Hopefully, 3 hits.
Well, I mean, there's a lot coming out. We're gonna talk about some music that came out. Let me just talk about the show I went to real quick. So Galantis, it's not even worth talking about. Just
so how much of a Galantis fan are you? How many times have you seen Galantis?
I was supposed to see Galantis last year at Governor's Ball on the day that got canceled, so I missed. I was
going to see Joy Badass that day.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that just the way it worked out like that. But I like Galantis a lot. I think they're a fun EDM group. I don't necessarily consider them good.
Interesting.
And
I feel like they're at a lot of festivals.
Yeah, they are, and they make a lot of fun songs. But I wouldn't say that they're like pushing EDM forward in any way.
Like the Chainsmokers?
Oh well, I mean, if you listen to that, it's what was it, Memories or something like that?
Memories Do Not Open with an ellipsis or something.
Did you listen to any of that?
No.
I listened to like 2 or 3 songs.
I listened to a song with Jhené Aiko, and I was just shaking my head. I'm like, you didn't have to do this song.
She was by far the best part.
Yeah.
She was like the only part. Because I just
surprised it was good vocals.
Dude, I skipped
from someone who's good at vocals.
Right. I skipped through a couple of songs, and first of all, some of the lyrics in there are just like questionable.
They've always been trash.
Yeah, just like very questionable, but like it's just so boring. Like nothing.
Just boring.
Yeah, and for EDM, like that's kind of hard because it's a pretty simple recipe, especially if you've made hit songs. You already know what to do. I don't know, but
Galantis.
Coming back to Galantis, so doors opened at 8, so I thought, oh, they'll probably go on at like 10, maybe 10:30 Friday night in New York City.
Standard.
They went on at 9:30, so we walked in right as they were coming on, and they only played for an hour, and they only played 4 or 5 of their own songs.
Were there openers?
They had one opener, so I
was the opener on right at 8 when doors opened?
They must have been, because I honestly we thought we had a lot more time. We were gonna go get like a good spot.
That happened to me with G-Eazy. I didn't get to see YG.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to me either. I don't know if there's like a curfew or something like that, but then they played like just a bunch of mixes and jock jams. It felt more like seeing a newer act than like a well-established act.
Right.
Like I saw Maddie on, who has I think he has one album at this point last year, and he played more original stuff, and I thought mixed way better than Galantis did.
Yeah,
so
I feel like you usually stick to remixes when those are your most popular songs right now. You're more known for those popular remixes than your own work because you might not even have that much of your own original work.
Yeah,
so that's interesting.
Yeah, so
or you do a lot of that when you have a really long set, like when Skrillex is on at like 2 a.m. or something at Bonnaroo or something.
Bonnaroo, like a secret like show at Bonnaroo.
Right. So that's disappointing. Was this part of a tour or just a one-off show?
I think it was part of a tour that they're doing. I think it's probably like early in the tour though, because I think they're going all summer, every big festival. So I don't know. I was disappointed by them, but the next night I went to LCD Soundsystem. So tickets for LCD were $70 if you got them right away.
Wow.
Basically, like no one got them right away.
How much was the resale?
The resale, up until the day of, was like $400 per ticket. Obviously, like right before the show, they went down to like $150, $200, but still, I mean, you're selling it for triple the price at that point. So
that's really good, really good return.
Yeah, and the awesome thing, so LCD Soundsystem broke up about 5 or 6 years ago, and they dropped their last album, This Is Happening, and then they did a farewell show that was shot by Spike Jonze for a movie. And it was at MSG, and it sold out in literally seconds. Like, tickets went on sale, sold out. So then they did 5 other shows leading as like warm-up shows for the last show at Terminal 5. So MSG is 21,000 tickets for a concert. Terminal 5 is 3,000.
I'd say a few thousand.
Like, that's 35,000 people, and all these shows sold out in minutes. So you have to understand, when they're coming back to their hometown, which is Brooklyn, New York, to open up a place, and they haven't really played a show in a small venue together since 2013. This is like huge, and tickets sold out right away. Somehow I got 2 of them. And
how many? They were doing a bunch of shows.
They were doing 5 shows in a row. They took Sunday off, so it was from the 7th through the 12th. So it ends tomorrow, Tuesday. Man, I mean, they might be my favorite live band right now.
Nice.
Just an incredible show. James Murphy, the lead singer, he is like such an awesome stage presence because he's not conventional at all. He's very like, when he talks, he's kind of quiet and just quirky and goofy, and he's very weird.
Sure.
They had signs up all around. They were like, please don't record. You've seen all the old stuff before. We don't want you to release the new stuff before we release it, because we want to respect all the people who put the time into it. Just sit and enjoy the show. I mean, some people are obviously taking pictures, but it probably had to be the least amount of cell phones I've ever seen at a show before.
Wow.
And people were just like
not
so
even Snapchats
into it the whole time. I think maybe I saw one person recording. Yeah, and people would like
10 seconds.
Like put their phone up for like 1 second, take a picture, and put it away. But like most of the time there was no phones up in the air, which was pretty awesome.
Nice.
You
don't see that anymore.
So they played like a full 2 hour 45-minute set. Then James Murphy is like, you don't need to cheer. We're just going to go off to the side. We're going to come back and play music afterwards. So there's just a break. Like, we're going to encore no matter what. So just relax. Came back out. They played 3 new songs. One was called Emotional Haircut. Another
good
one.
Name.
Yeah. Another one was called Tonight, which was really, really good. And American Dream was the other one. They also have one that's called Call Police, which they didn't play, but they played at an earlier show. So that album is like impending. Like that will probably be out in the next 2 to 3 months, I would imagine.
Interesting.
And then they finished with 2 of their biggest hits, Dance Yourself Clean and All My Friends. And man, like the range of emotions that they put you through, because they go from being like a very rock band to very like dancey very quickly, and then they can move into some very emotional songs like Someone Great or Home or New York I Love You But You're Bringing Me Down. I mean, they just really run you through the gambit, and they do it like so smoothly, and just they're like so tight as a band. If you can ever see LCD Soundsystem at a festival, especially a small venue,
are they doing a festival this year?
They're doing Mysteryland
Mysteryland. They're Mysteryland, really?
Yeah, they're doing They're headlining Mysteryland, and
wasn't there a big one?
They're doing one over in Portugal, I believe. Or they might have already done it last year. I can't remember, but there was another one.
Interesting.
But yeah, they mostly toured last year, so I'm hoping they've
already the comeback already happened.
Yeah, but this is like,
and now this is like the rollout for the new music.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And Brooklyn Steel is a really cool venue. So.
Yeah, so is that a new place?
Yeah, it's brand new.
A steel factory or something?
So yeah, it's like it's in Williamsburg, and all the places around there are like steel and stuff, like steel oriented bars and whatnot. It was a really cool experience to like be around so many fans and like see such a big band, like 1,800 people, 1,500 people.
That's small.
It was really small. So I feel very blessed. #blessed to like be a part
That's
of
good.
that.
There's another venue in New York.
Yeah.
That's a nice little mid-level venue.
Yeah.
Rap shows.
It's smaller than Terminal 5, but it's bigger than Hammerstein. Or it's right around.
Is it bigger than Webster Hall, I think?
I think it is bigger than Webster Hall, too. So, and in Brooklyn, it's a nice venue for Brooklyn, too, because most of them are in Manhattan or around there.
Yeah, or Barclays, which is very big.
Yeah, so it's not a stadium, but it's a good venue.
Interesting. Well, that's good. That was a good show.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely cover the new album when it happens.
It'll be interesting. I'm not sure.
You don't want to talk about it when it comes out?
We will talk about it. I thought you were saying like they'll definitely play shows for it.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure what they're going to do
they're
with that.
They're an eclectic group.
Yeah, when the new album comes out, we will definitely talk about that.
Mm-hmm. So stay tuned for that.
Absolutely.
Follow at NowstalgiaPod on Twitter.
Stay tuned for my takes on Father John Misty and Future Islands right now, because they both released albums this Friday.
Father John Misty, third album.
Did you get to listen to?
That's about all I know about it.
Did you get to listen to any of his other albums?
Honey Bear.
What did you think about it?
No, it's not my cup of tea. I'm not a folk rock guy. It puts me to sleep.
Yeah, Father John Misty. I mean, he I wouldn't put him just in folk rock, but.
No, he definitely's got a lot going on upstairs.
Yeah, he's a really smart dude. His lyrics are really meaningful.
Very interesting career, too, if you read up on him, because he had a lot of, he was in a bunch of different bands.
Yeah, and like...
very detailed Wikipedia.
He drummed for the Fleet Foxes for like a year or two.
He's been in like 10 bands.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize any of them.
No, I mean, he's just been in the indie scene for a long time. And it's not a solo project per se, because he plays with a band, but...
he's the front man.
Yeah, Josh Tillman. He's a really like interesting musician. This album was really long. It's an hour and 15 minutes, which...
It's that Kid Cudi flow.
Yeah, if you've ever listened to any of our takes on albums, the shorter the better.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Make them digestible for us.
Shout out the XX.
Yeah, the XX and like Priest and people like that have released really good albums this year. Yeah, Pure Comedy. Probably my favorite song on the album is Pure Comedy, which he already released.
The title track.
Yeah.
I hate that when the best song was out before the album. It's a bad look.
I know. But honestly, this was a really well written album. It touches on
hope so.
themes.
It seems like what he does.
Yeah, I mean, with an hour and 15 minutes, you got to fill it with something, and it can't all just be acoustic guitars and like drums. So it like ranges topics from social justice to the environment to capitalism, and basically just talks about how it's like crazy to be a human being now and like create meaning for things that really have no meaning, and life is all just made up conceptions in our mind.
Interesting.
Which was a really hard listen to do on a Friday when I was getting my car fixed. I was like sitting waiting to see like how big the bill was, and I was like,
nothing matters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why am I paying you money? Like, what do I care? It was a bad morning for me, but overall, I mean,
how personal is that album?
Great.
Or is he talking about broad strokes?
It like goes back and forth from being like very introverted to very extroverted. Like a song like hold on, I had a song list pulled up here. Leaving LA, which is 13 minutes, is kind of like autobiographical in a lot of ways, kind of talking about his process and where he sees himself in like the pop culture, or like I don't even know if like cultural scene just in general. Sure. But then things like when the God of Love returns, there'll be hell to pay, or what was the other song? Something about paper bag. Where is it?
Brown Paper Bag by Migos.
Oh, a bigger paper bag. Were both songs that just kind of looked at like socially, like how things are affected. I don't know. It's not the most pleasant listen, but if you like Father John Misty and you like interesting indie rock,
you'll like it.
Yeah, give it a listen. I enjoyed Future Island's album, The Far Field, way more. First of all, they have a very specific sound. It's synth pop, but with a real indie twist to it. Especially the lead singer's vocals, I think I talked about last week, are just very like
druggy.
Like raspy and
takes
like
lean a lot
almost. I don't know about that, but all speculation on your part, Dave. But
something about the name.
Yeah, it's funny. Like this is their 5th album. But really, they just became really popular after Seasons off their last album singles became really popular. And they played, I think it was Letterman, or maybe it was, I forgot which. It was one of the late night shows, and they really blew up after that.
Interesting.
This is a really consistent album. They start to branch out a little bit. It sounds almost like kind of Japandroids in a way where you know what you're going to get.
How does this compare to the other rock records that you've listened to this year?
I think it would be up near the top of the list. I mean, I
XX, number 1.
Oh, that's a hard one. I have to think of all the albums I've listened to this
year. XX, Japandroids, Priest.
I can pull it up.
I didn't listen to some of the more recent ones.
But like I was saying, that they have that very specific sound, but they did try to branch out a little bit on this album. Some of the better songs, I would say, the songs that if you're just looking to get into this record and see if it's for you, I'd check out Shadows, which actually had... what's her name from Blondie, the lead singer, Debbie Harry, which I thought was really cool because I haven't heard them do many duets, but her voice almost goes perfectly with this guy's, and it fits really well. It's also like it like contrasts because the album is mostly about these 2 relationships he's had, one that's older, one that's very recent, with that fall apart, and this song Shadows, Debbie Harry kind of plays almost like an older person, like with that wise like perspective, like you're letting these shadows like just like make a fool of you, and he's like talking about how hard it is to like deal with these broken relationships. Very cool.
Sounds like a focus record.
Yeah, absolutely. Time on Her Side was also one of my favorites, and Through the Roses seemed to be like the emotional apex of it. Gets a little dramatic in terms of lyrics, talks about like wanting to kill himself. Just kind of looking through the albums that have come out this year that are rock, Spoon would probably be up there at the top for me, and then probably Cloud and Nothings, then the XX, and then probably Future Islands right under that.
Nice. Okay, solid year.
Yeah, but Drake would probably be ahead of that, and I'm guessing Kendrick will probably be ahead of any of those as well.
Right.
Which, if you had told me a year ago, I would have put Drake at the top of my album list right now. I probably would have laughed in your face and told you I would love to be proven wrong, which I have been. So
check out our More Life review if you missed it.
Dave has those receipts. Future Islands, I would definitely say check out. Father John Misty if you have some time to delve into some philosophical bullshit. Yeah, just go do that. So Dave, I did not listen to Joey Badass, All-Amerikkkan and
All-American Badass.
So what did you think of that album? Because I know you're a huge Mr. Robot fan, a huge Elliott fan, a huge Joey Badass fan.
All
and
true.
You were really hoping Kendrick would give him some shine, and it seems like he did.
Yeah, no, I could not be more thrilled that Kendrick didn't drop on Friday. Right. Just because to give Joey some chance to shine. Yeah, so this is Joey's 2nd album. Mm-hmm. He's only 22.
21?
Yeah, just recently was 21. Joey Badass from New York, really holding it down for New York hip hop for a long time now, because he's been active and well known in the hip hop circle since he was like 17.
Really?
He's been out for 5 years.
Was he a XXL freshman?
Yes, like 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. So
Joey's a rising star because he's been around for so long. Again, he's so young. And we talked about his acting pursuits before. He first came up on the 1999 mixtape, and when we heard that, it was just so refreshing because it was just a classic 90s boom bap jazz rap sound. Yeah. Just very much, like a Wu-Tang, like a Biggie. Right. Those, old school beats, trap beats here. It's just not the way.
So kind of a generic sound.
Just a very 90s sound. It doesn't sound contemporary at all. So very unique, actually, in that regard, because no one else is rapping like that. And he's part of his pro-era clique, his crew. And again, really, him and A$AP Rocky are the only real stars of New York hip-hop of any substance recently. There's
Isn't that crazy?
A lot more independent people, I know. It is crazy. I mean, A$AP Ferg as well, but again, like Rocky and Fur don't actually have that much of a New York sound.
But New York City from like the mid '80s through the '90s was like the center of hip hop.
Was the birthplace
moving a little
hip-hop.
bit to the West Coast at the middle to late '90s. Like,
right.
There's that beef.
I mean, now you have Dave East, you have Young M.A., you have Boogie with the Hoodie, you have some people, but again, like clearly Joey and Rocky and Fur are like the only real stars.
Right.
Obviously we talk about the West Coast, Kendrick, Future, Schoolboy Q, all those guys are all West Coast, and then Chicago obviously holding it down with Chance and all the other new Chicago people. And
shout out Chance the Rapper.
Of course, Atlanta with Migos leading the way, Gucci back. So New York's kind of been, on the bottom for a while, but it's really good to see Joey come out with such a strong record. And I think what's such a great takeaway about All-Amerikkkan Badass is that it's so focused. Yeah. It's not just a concept album so much as it's just very singularly focused.
Okay.
Joey has things to say and he says them, and it's all about.
So what is he talking about?
Yeah, he's talking about current events.
Okay.
Black on black crime, mass incarceration, police brutality, and sometimes he's in a really aggressive tone. Sometimes he's like calling out for help. Sometimes he's trying to motivate people to come together. I think the album's really strong.
So it's kind of like a cry for social justice, but in different forms.
Someone's to bring attention to it. He's not trying to solve the problems, because I think he's always come across as a pretty smart guy despite his young age. But he knows he's not going to solve any problems with the album, but he's just trying to bring people together. Like he said it, he actually had a really good Hot 97 interview, and he's like, I'm just trying to get, all my brothers to know that we got to team up to, get through this shit. And I thought, and you can really say if you listen to the song, like there's one that's like, Why You Know Love Me. And it comes across as like almost like a sad like breakup song, but it's really about why his country doesn't love him because he's black.
Wow.
And he's got a lot of songs.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, he's got a lot of songs like that. Actually, the closer, the last song of the album, which is it's only 12 tracks, which I think it's really really succinct. It's called American Idol, obviously with 3 Ks. Yeah. And that's where he just goes at Trump.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like YG just dropping like "Fuck Donald Trump." Like, right at the end of his album, right? If I remember.
Right. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Still Brazy had I think like 3 or 4 songs that talked about mainly the negative things Trump said about minorities and Mexican people specifically, but not the whole album wasn't about that. The whole album for Joey Badass is focused on this idea, and that's why I think it's definitely a must listen. It's definitely the best rap album of the year so far.
It's interesting. I mean, we've talked before about how rock in a lot of ways has lost its influence on the culture just in general, and hip hop has really taken its place.
Right.
And it seems like one of the things people were interested in is Donald Trump, a very divisive leader in our country right now, takes over. How will that impact culture? It seems like rock is kind of struggling to take that and run with it in a way.
Right.
Like, I mean, Fudge on Misty maybe might be the most politically driven rock album that has been released towards.
But how direct is it really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But YG, A Tribe Called Quest.
Yep.
And Joey Badass now all really just taking very direct shots at the government.
And that's the thing, like, this Joey record's more political than any of those things, because he's even more political than To Pimp Butterfly, because with Kendrick, he talks a lot of heavy shit, but he also kind of always brings it back to like his personal themes about how it affected him as an artist or coming up or whatever, whereas Joey's kind of talking about the bigger picture the whole time, whether it's at a neighborhood level or a national level. There's actually a song called Legendary with J. Cole. One of J. Cole's
featured?
Very rare feature from J. Cole. I think when J. Cole used the Joey Badass Waves beat for False Prophets, the lead up to Cole's last album, he returned the favor by giving Joey a feature.
Nice.
And it's funny because you can't help but laugh that All-Amerikkkan Badass is such a more successful concept album, because Joey actually delivers on what he's setting out to do, whereas Cole on For Your Eyes only kind of always dances around his things and like he flirts with all these ideas, but usually doesn't succeed on all of them. That's kind of what we talked about, just kind of like I always say, like, I don't want to give Cole a participation medal for trying to make this kind of album, because he didn't succeed. But Joey definitely succeeded. And Land of the Free song was already out. Definitely check that out. A lot of great political lyrics, really accessible song. And then it wouldn't be a Joey album without a clear banger, and that's clearly Ring the Alarm, featuring Kirk Knight and Nick Caution, which are both pro-era guys. Okay. And then Michi Darko, who is from Flatbush Zombies, the guy with the deepest voice, that really unique one. that song's just total banger.
Wow, awesome.
So definitely check this album out. It's worth listening to. If I had to say anything negative about it, like a lot of lyrical hip hop albums, it can sort of blend together, just like because it's kind of the beats are kind of similar. So, and when you listen to heavy shit for a while, it just kind of get mixed up in your head. Absolutely. And also, honestly, Joey's probably preaching to the choir. I don't know how many new fans he's gonna get with something so heavy and so political, but
that's interesting.
Can't fault him for that.
So I'm going to kind of throw the question you asked me back at you. We've had some really, really good rap albums this year. I mean, Drake, Migos, and honestly, what you're about to say will probably be irrelevant in like a week after Kendrick releases his new album. Yeah. But where would you put those in that?
Yeah, it's tough because they're all so different.
They are.
Atlanta's just a perfect trap album.
Yep.
Drake, we talked about, it's just a vibe album, right?
Expands.
Playlist, sorry. And then Joey, this is just it's like a concept album to a T, like so focused, so delivered. So I think all three of those projects have their purpose.
Right.
And it'd be great to see how Kendrick fits in all this, and probably Logic as well, because
yeah, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And what else we're getting? I think we're gonna get Action Bronson this year. I think we're gonna get a lot of stuff. So
Action Bronson would be interesting.
Yeah, it's been 2 years.
I was gonna say, yeah, it seems like I saw him last year at Governor's Ball, but he wasn't playing anything I hadn't heard.
Right. So. Yeah, 2015 is the last album, Mr. Wonderful. So.
Yeah. Huh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll be like we said, it'll be interesting to see how Kendrick plays into all this, and I'm sure. I mean, we're just going to be talking about Kendrick next week.
Yeah, so make sure you listen to it. Yeah. It comes out Friday.
You have homework, listen to Kendrick Lamar. I'm probably going to try to listen to it at least 2 or 3 times before we talk. Yeah. I'm assuming it's going to be that much fire.
If Humble is any indication.
Yeah, which I think it will be. So. Yeah.
Also, shout out Humble. That song has like 45 million views on YouTube, the video.
Dude, it's...
killing it. It's more than Harry Styles.
It's a banger, man. I mean...
head start, but that's still impressive.
And just, it's so catchy, but like also just so lyrically phenomenal.
Right.
Kendrick is on another plane right now. So we'll see how he fits into the discussion of best rap album for the year.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, if you want to discuss any of this with Dave and I, you can either tweet at the show at NowstalgiaPod. You can tweet at Martin Swagger at Sheeny World Peace. Give us a follow on YouTube or subscribe. A subscription
please.
On YouTube.
Big help.
Yeah, and share us with friends and stuff. We want to be helping all of you stay relevant.
Yeah, stay woke, sit down, be humble, all that jazz.
Even if I'm having a hard time staying woke right now, because I'm very tired from my LCD Soundsystem show this weekend.
Don't watch Better Call Saul today.
I know.
Won't be action-packed enough for you.
I know, I'll probably fall asleep during it. But anyways, please, if you have anything you want to talk about, tweet at us. We will fit it in.
Leftovers Sunday.
Yes. If we can get to Leftovers and Better Call Saul next week, we will.
And Kendrick. That's enough. Big enough show already. So.
Yeah, it's a really packed week. Yeah, and thank you for all your support. We love you guys.